Underway here, the championship final of the 2017 Clash of the Titans, brought to you by Bauer, the Ballhockey.com Athletic Center. St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada is our home court. It has been the home St. Catharines has amongst two courts, both here at the BAC and also the Hague Bowl Arena, for all the action that got underway on Friday. We had 14 teams enter the tournament. We are now down to our final two. Let's set the stage. It's the Midnight Express, based in Toronto, Canada, in the red and black. They come in as the top seed, or at least the top seed of this final, and they've scored. Just like that, Sean Hannon, number 13. We didn't even get a chance to let you know who some of the dangerous players are for Midnight Express, but Sean Hannon right near the top of that list. Matt Tremblatt there, number 55, and Bobby Hauser, number 52. Also Loveless in there as well, number 94. Very feared trio up front. Tremblatt usually patrolling the blue line, but Midnight Express are up 1-0, just 45 seconds into this gold medal final. We got the Pittsburgh Gods in white and gold, obviously from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They had a hard-fought semifinal to cash their ticket here into the finals. The Midnight Express were able to do away with the Midnight Rebels 7-3. They were not tested as much in their semifinals, but all weekend long, games were very close. Lots of body being played, as that one's called for offside. Lots of body being played here, even though it is a non-contact ball hockey championship. You will see the players engage physically with each other at times, and everybody seems to know where the line is, including the referees. If they go over it, they will make the call, but you will see a lot of physicality here as these teams are vying for more than $11,000 in cash. We've got $8,400 to the championship team, $2,800 to the silver medal winning team. As the referee just conferring over there in the score clock, just making sure we got enough balls to get through this championship final. Goaltenders here, John Rethage for the Pittsburgh Gods and David D. Geronimo for the Midnight Express. Both stood tall throughout the weekend. Quarterfinals this morning, semifinals this afternoon. We'll see how they perform here in the finals as Midnight Express get the ball deep. It's 77 here for Pittsburgh. That's Bobby Sokol. The Gods rush up. That's Schlegel with a wrister just wide. Hain now, number 7, in on the forecheck for the Gods. Midnight Express over to 44. It's 44 from the Express. It's Jeff Smith. So we try and get in as many names as possible. Pittsburgh now back with it. Number 17, Tyler Kaba, as they fire it down the ice. It's Midnight Express coming out from behind their own net now, leading 1-0 in the early goings here of the gold medal final. Bauer Clash of the Titans. Up over the red line now, and they throw it the length of the floor. If you're not familiar with ball hockey, some nuanced differences between ball hockey and ice hockey. One being icing, or I guess in ball hockey, more accurately flooring. The player needs only to gain the blue line to throw the ball the length of the court. In traditional ice hockey, you have to get over the red line. So you might see that at times and wonder, why are they not calling icing or flooring? Well, as long as you gain the blue line, you can then throw the ball the length of the court. The other significant difference would have to be the floating blue line in the offensive zone. We'll talk a little more about that later on as Midnight Express player brings the ball in offside. He's looking at the referee and wondering, but our position is actually right along that blue line, the Pittsburgh Gods blue line, and we could see quite clearly that the Express player had backed himself in before the ball. So offside face-off coming up just outside the Pittsburgh zone. Draw is won by the Gods. Off the boards now, near side. There's a big line for Pittsburgh out there. It's both Gregories. We've got Steve, number 23, playing the left side. His brother, Dan Gregory, number 21, playing the right side. And then stuck down the middle is Drew Albright. Sorry, I made that Dan Gregory. So both teams' top lines going head-to-head here as the trio of Hauser, Hannon, and Loveless are out for Midnight Express. There's Steve Gregory in on the forecheck. Long pass there, trying to find Hannon. Hannon made a nice little play on the Pittsburgh defender by lifting his stick to make sure that he didn't touch the ball, but in doing so, he was unable to touch it, and the ball went the length of the floor, and that is flooring. Face-off coming up to the right of Domenico, who's just fixing his pads there in the early goings of this game. Lots of time left to be played. Doubt that this game is going to end 1-0. That's where we stand right now. 3 12-minute periods. It's Hain in on the draw. Hain with the ball again for Pittsburgh. Tries to throw in towards the net. That hits a foot. Hauser now with it. Dumps it in the direction of Lovelace. He's the stronger of the two players there. His snapshot nearly fooled the goaltender, but he got a blocker on it, steered it aside, and now it's Hain with the ball again. Trying to feed it over to the left side, and Midnight Express throw it the length of the floor. So Midnight Express jumping out quickly to that 1-0 lead, but since then, the play has been pretty even, if not kind of tilted in Pittsburgh's favor. So we'll see if they're able to even things up here. Hannon against Hain on the draw. It's kicked back towards the Pittsburgh defense. Good forecheck, though, by Midnight Express. It was 17, Tyler Kaba. Also Jeff Smith there, 44. You can see the back of his jersey. As we'll set up again just outside the Pittsburgh zone. So Kaba and Smith, they're on the two wings. Down the middle, I think that's Jared Hirsch. No, my apologies. It's 22 down the middle. Don't have a name on him. I apologize. It's a bit of a pile up there. Right on top of Domenico as his own defender ended up kind of falling on top of him. But the good thing is that Domenico had a firm grasp on the ball, smothered it. So another stoppage of play, and now we have a face-off down in the Midnight Express zone. That's Jingle is what I want to call him, number 76. Jingle, I think is what it is. There we go, I've got it. And Jingle lost the draw and now is pursuing 95 for Midnight Express, and he caught up to him. There's Smith with it. Cute little backhand pass, and he scores. Michael Vitro find at the back of the net. I apologize. Had a hard time finding his name before. Vitro snapped that one short side. And a nice little backhand pass by Smith to set that up. And just like that, Midnight Express find themselves up 2-0 over the Pittsburgh Gods. Nice little backhand no-look pass from Smith. And then even better finish by Vitro. And 2-0 Midnight Express, not even 5 minutes into this gold medal match. There's another snapper by Midnight Express, just sails wide. As players and goaltender kind of get caught up there in the crease. Not exactly sure what happened, but it looks like the goaltender may have taken the worst of that. John Rethage is the goaltender as he pulls himself to his feet. Applause from both benches and everyone in attendance. Hard for me to say definitively what exactly happened there, but Rethage appears to be in a little bit of pain, if not discomfort. The coach there for the Pittsburgh Gods is Corey Hirsch, and you see him out there just talking to his goaltender, making sure he's good enough to go on. Do not see a backup over there on the Pittsburgh bench. As for Midnight Express, they do have a backup goaltender on their bench. So, should anything happen to DiGeronimo, the position is filled. As for Pittsburgh, they're going to have to ride Rethage through the rest of this tournament. 2-0 Midnight Express lead. As Steve Gregory forces a turnover. Is able to kick the ball deep. He's got Matt Tremblett on him. Tremblett taking on two Pittsburgh Gods players. Midnight Express win the ball. Nice little play off the boards there. Ford Express passes it out. Oh, that one just hit the post. Here's an opportunity. That was Bevilacqua with a follow. And Rethage, big stops there. Don't know if he got a piece of it, but nice backhand pass. I think that was Gill centering it. J.K. Gill centering it. And it was 96 with the opportunity there. And I think that's J.C. Gill, and it is. So the brothers connecting on that. J.K. being the taller of the two. And made a beautiful backhand pass right onto the tape of number 96, J.C. Gill. And he had a glorious opportunity to put this game at 3-0. But just hit the post. And again, not sure if Rethage got a piece of it or not. Schlegel, number 18, dumps it in for the Pittsburgh Gods. It's 7 now. Hain with it. Over to Schlegel. Schlegel spins, fires. That goes wide. Hannon now. Running up the floor with his mouth guard hanging out for him. Hanging out of his mouth. There's Lovelace behind the net. Hannon fighting for real estate out front with the Pittsburgh Gods defender. The Gods just flip it out. It's Jason Gill, number 21. We have 4 Gills on the Midnight Express team, but just JC and JK are brothers. Pittsburgh now moves over to this side. It's Hauser with the ball. Thinks twice about advancing. Moves it back to the point. Pittsburgh's able to intercept that before Midnight Express gained the zone, and so they've thrown it down deep in Midnight Express zone. But just like that, Tremblett up to his deep partner. And there you have it. They gain the blue line and throw it the length of the floor. So augmented rules for ball hockey. Just have to gain the blue line before icing is negated. 76 for Pittsburgh. Dumps that in deep. That's Gingell. Tremblatt now throws it up over the glass. No penalty in ball hockey for that. However, if the goaltender does it, that is a penalty. The goaltender does manage to play the ball, and it goes cleanly over the glass. If it hits the boards or deflects something first, it's not a penalty. So something to keep in mind, but no penalty on that play. Hannon now, under center for Midnight Express. Gingell, 76 for the Gods. Kind of whacks at it wildly there, takes a swing at it as J.K. Gill sends that high over everyone. No icing. It's Tremblett looking for Bevilacqua in the middle. Didn't connect with him. Bevilacqua first on the ball. We got J.K. Gill working in behind the net. Thinking about sweeping up front on the ball on the backhand, but couldn't quite handle the ball. Gingell again back here controlling the ball for the Pittsburgh Gods, who set up behind their own net. Just changing the personnel for the Pittsburgh Gods so they maintain possession. They've got Dan and Steve Gregory out now as they were trying to hit a streaking 26 down the far side, but a little too much on that pass, and it flies into the Midnight Express bench. And so at 4:36 to go here in the first period, face-off coming up. Offensive zone face-off for the Midnight Express, who lead this 2-0 over the Pittsburgh Gods. At 480 or 360? It's Bobby Hauser up the right side now. Throws it into the middle, and that's another goal. Midnight Express just absolutely making the most of their opportunities. I don't even think you can say that that was a bona fide scoring chance. I think it was Hauser who made the initial pass to a streaking 67, Marcus Mentis. And Mentis didn't have the ball on his stick for very long and tucked that right where he needed to put it to score a goal. It was right up. Top shelf, blocker side. Tough shot, tough play. Can't blame the goaltender on that one. And the Pittsburgh Gods have taken a timeout, and the coach over there on the bench is just absolutely giving it to his team right now. Meanwhile, over the Midnight Express bench, just water bottles being passed around and just recollecting themselves and saying more of the same. Stay the course. padded themselves out to a 3-0 lead after the first period. And I don't think that either team could have possibly, I'll say, seen this coming, but I don't think this was the game plan. I don't think if you talk to the Midnight Express, they'd say that, yeah, if we play our best game, we'll be up 3-0 at the end of the first period. But that's where they find themselves right now. Well, still 4:16 to go in this first period, and the Midnight Express are up 3-0 over the Pittsburgh Gods. We'll see if that timeout does anything to change the fortunes of the Pittsburgh Gods. Still working hard. It's Gurge Gill moving the ball forward. Now rink wide over to Smith. It's intercepted, but just briefly. Now back at Smith, who again has a hard time handling the pass. Pittsburgh counters quite well. 3 away for them now. Little snapshot by Schlegel. Gets deflected into the corner, so Tremblack corrals it. Rings it around the boards. All the way up to 88, who just deftly deflects it the length of the floor so they can change the personnel. So 3 new forwards up front. We've got Gill, and I believe that's Bevilacqua that plays with the Gill brothers. As Hain intercepts the ball at the half wall, throws it towards the net, but it doesn't get there. Midnight Express now, and that's Gill on the forecheck. Both Gills away. In fact, 3 of them. There's Gill to Gill and back of the net. And less than a minute after the Pittsburgh Gods call a timeout to try and settle things down, Midnight Express score again. And now it's 4-0. 3:16 to go in the first period. And we mentioned that I don't think the Midnight Express ever would have thought that they'd be out to a 3-0 lead. I know for certain that they did not expect to find themselves out to a 4-0 lead before the end of the first period, but that's where we find ourselves. Lots of ball hockey left, lots of game to be played. Pittsburgh has the guys on the floor that they want. Back over to Gill now, who backhands it. There's another opportunity for Loveless, who's attacking. That's Hannon, as they're looking to make it 5-0 now, are the Express. Hannon turns, fires. Looks like Rethage took that shot right in the face, and have to be honest, Rethage went down midway through the first period, and not exactly sure what it was, but he seems to be ailing just a little bit. And again, not exactly sure how it's affecting its game, whether it's a groin, a lower body thing, if it's affecting his mobility, but he does appear to be straining on almost every save. As the Pittsburgh Gods win that draw. Tried to chip it into the zone, but the Midnight Express intercept that. Nice little give and go there, but a good stick on the back end by the Pittsburgh Gods, able to deflect that pass away. 11 now, gains his blue line. Chips it down into the Midnight Express zone. Hannon's there, but gets outbodied by 95, who decides to pour it on a little more. Hannon gloves the ball back, but not to his teammate. His 10 picks it up for the Pittsburgh Gods. It's Tyler Fulmer. So Pittsburgh jams away, gets a ball through the crease. Nobody there, though, to put into the back of the net. Midnight Express picked that off. That's Loveless. Fires a shot that goes into the meshing over the net. 2:16 to go now, first period. Wholesale changes on both benches. I imagine for Pittsburgh, we are going to see a lot of this trio as the game moves on. Albright between Gregory and Gregory. Dan 21, Steve 23. That's Gurge Gill holding the ball in for Midnight Express. As it's 8 that leads the charge now for the Pittsburgh Gods. Steve Gregory comes out of the corner, fires one glove side, and DiGeronimo just calmly scoops that out of the air and keeps the goose egg on the board for the Midnight Express. Hannon back out to take the draw, big number 13 for Midnight Express. Ties up Albright, now gets shoved into the boards by Albright, and Gregory passes it back to the point, and in a little bit of a panic, 68 just tries to get rid of the ball and fires a hard one into the bench for Midnight Express. Don't think he did it intentionally. So, face-off now coming up outside Midnight Express zone. as the Express change their personnel, and we've got Gill, and also I think that would be Bevilacqua. This time, though, the one Gill takes the draw, and it's JC, I believe, took the draw. Here's Bevilacqua, back to JK. Rethage just gets a glove on that to deflect it wide. Up to Gregory, who mishandles it. Over to Dan Gregory, trying to find his brother Steve. Winds and fires. DiGeronimo made the stop, but would not have counted anyway, as the far winger had ran in offside on that play. 4-0 with a bucket and a half to go in the first period. 4-0 for Midnight Express in the red. Pittsburgh Gods in the white as Schlegel fires that wide. J.K. Gill picks up the ball now, deep in his own zone. Just lofts one the length of the floor, but right on target. So Rethage scoops that up with both hands and just holds on. And not a bad play by Midnight Express. If you can lob it up there over everybody's head and make sure that it's on target. And then worst case scenario is you force the goaltender to handle it. And that's where they find themselves now. They've won themselves an offensive faceoff. It's J.C. Gill who loses at that time. They ring it around, but Midnight Express is first on that loose ball. 67. Mentis, a goal scorer today for Midnight Express. Forechecking in deep. That's another Gill. That's Jason Gill, who held the red line there for Midnight Express. Under a minute to go now in the first period. Dump in for Hain. Wow. Beautiful play by Hain, as it looked like he was going to carry the ball behind the net, and then at the last minute on the backhand blind pass, he slipped it out short side right onto the tape of Schlegel, and the goaltender, DiGeronimo, was at the far side of the net. And it looked like Schlegel had an open net to just flip that ball into and absolutely fanned on the shot. There's really no other explanation. He just got nothing on it. And because of that, DiGeronimo was able to make the save, but 9 times out of 10, that goes in. Maybe just not Pittsburgh God's day. It's Loveless now with the ball. On the far wall. Decides to run it himself. Gains the blue line. Now goes through center. Takes a quick snapper. Gets his own rebound almost. But bounced over his stick. And so it's 11 going the other way for the Gods. Dumps it into 95. That's Hunter Godkin. Godkin around to Gingell. Gingell battling with Tremblatt. Gingell and Tremblatt. Now, Gingell gets a couple of his teammates in there, but it's up to Lovelace for the Midnight Express, who softly throws it into the corner, and that should do it for the first period. See if Pittsburgh decides to fire one. Nearly worked against them as Hauser was able to deflect that shot and actually maintain possession. And just as the buzzer was about to sound, got a point-blank backhand shot in on Rethage, who slowly is walking to the Pittsburgh Gods bench. End of the first period, 4 for Midnight Express, 0 for the Pittsburgh Gods. We'll take just a short break here from the broadcast booth, and we'll be back to call the second period. Midnight Express up 4-0 over the Pittsburgh Gods. This is the Bauer Clash of the Titans at the Ballhockey.com Athletic Center. Underway here in the second period. 4-0 lead for Midnight Express. Pittsburgh Gods throw the ball the length of the floor, so that's icing. You have to think if the Pittsburgh Gods are going to inch their way back into this one, not only do they need the next goal, but they need it soon. For the Midnight Express, every second, every shift, every minute that comes off that clock is just a step closer towards $8,400 and the championship banner here at the 2017 Bauer Clash of the Titans. As Gill tried to spin and shoot. Gets back defensively, though, just to bust up that 2-on-1 opportunity for the Pittsburgh Gods. It's Albright now trying to stick handle out of the corner. Dan Gregory trying to throw something at the net. And there's Steve Gregory with a turnaround attempt off of a pinball. It's Mentis, 67, who throws the ball deep. Albright is the first to it and finds himself a lot of room. And he also finds himself Dan Gregory, who comes in on his off wing. Still has possession with it. And there's a goal by Pittsburgh. No sooner had we said if Pittsburgh's going to get back into this game, not only do they need the next one, but they need it soon, and they get one. And it looked like it was 77 on the clapper. Bobby Sokol. Bobby Sokol, sharp angle, one-timer. It was Dan Gregory that was able to bring the ball into the zone, maintain possession all the way behind the net, and then with one hand on the stick, just kind of batted the ball with his backhand in the direction of Sokol, who one-timed it into the top shelf. So 4-1 now. Pittsburgh Gods with a little bit of life. Schlegel battling in deep with Tremblatt. Lovelace. 94 for Midnight Express has his pass intercepted. Pittsburgh Gods now looking to get something towards the net as they maintain possession down in the Express zone. Two Gods players in on one Express as Gurge Gill comes over to help his defensive partner, Matt Tremblett. Ball wasn't moving, though, so referee will just reset here to the right of DiGeronimo. Five new runners for Pittsburgh Gods with an offensive zone face-off. Midnight Express deciding to stick with the five they have out there. Top line of Hannon, Hauser, and Lovelace. Meanwhile, Tremblett and Gill on the back end. Five better hockey players you'd be hard-pressed to find. Hannon just touches it over in the direction of Lovelace. Far side to Gurge Gill. He winds and fires, but it gets deflected. Tremblatt first to pick it up and sensing danger, he throws it the full length of the floor, and with a 4-1 lead and 10:04 to go here in the second period, Midnight Express probably content whenever they find themselves in a precarious situation to just throw the ball to a safe area, be that the length of the floor or into one of the players' benches or into the stands. So we'll see if they continue to kind of employ that as a bit of a strategy. They've got Gingell taking the draw against Hannon. Gingell for the Pittsburgh Gods in white. As Smith picks it up for Midnight Express. Reverses it over to Hannon. Hannon gains the blue, now the red, all the way into the zone. He still has it now. Tried to find 88 in front, but Pittsburgh defender got a stick on that, so it deflects in behind DiGeronimo. It's Mentis now, running out from behind his own net, throwing one up the boards. It will likely be icing, and it is, the referee indicates, and now the whistle goes. .9:33 to go here, second period. More than $11,000 is up for grabs in this one game alone. $8,400 to the winning team, $2,800 to the runner-up. Midnight Express right now in the driver's seat for the big check as they throw the ball around the boards. It goes all the way in behind the net of the Pittsburgh Gods. And it's Albright back to retrieve it and now leading the charge. It's Gregory, far side now. Finds number 8 who's charging in from his defensive position. They'll let Gregory shoot from there. His brother Dan got the rebound and his shot attempt went just off the crossbar. It's Pittsburgh has reclaimed momentum of this game. Well, maybe not reclaim, claiming it for the very first time. First period was all Express. So far, Pittsburgh Gods have scored one here in the second period and nearly got a second as Dan Gregory's rebound attempt just grazed the underside of the crossbar and somehow stayed out. It's Albright applying the body down low. Midnight Express, though, clear the zone. Pittsburgh throws it up to Albright. Takes a snapper that DiGeronimo just steers to the corner. 95 now, that's Mentis. Pittsburgh has it, over to Hain. 77 Sokol, your goal scorer for the Pittsburgh Gods, has the ball now, kind of ran into the referee, looking for some open space, and he finds some. Over to Hain. Hain thinking about shooting. Did. Goaltender, I don't think, saw that as it sailed wide. That's J.C. Gill. Over to Bevilacqua. Bevilacqua being hounded by Roy Dutin. They're still battling in the corner now, are they? Ball still below the goal line. It's J.K. Gill with it on the backhand. Just floats one up over everybody's head, the length of the floor, and the whistle goes. Best part for Midnight Express is that another minute ticked off the clock, and they did not surrender a goal. As we mentioned, it might be a strategy here for Midnight Express, whenever in trouble, to just do what they can to clear the zone, including just icing the ball the length of the floor. Protecting a 4-1 lead here, as we've got Tremblett and Mentis on the back end for Midnight Express. Hannon in to take the draw. He's out with his regular line mates of Hauser and also Loveless, as the referees go over to the scorekeeper's box to conference on something. Not exactly sure what the discussion would be about, but they are talking. Hey, maybe they were looking at that shot by Dan Gregory off the rebound that went under the underside of the crossbar, and just get another set of eyes, make sure that it didn't go in. It did not. 94 Loveless throws it behind his own net. That's intercepted by Pittsburgh. It's Schlegel trying to come out of the corner, but Tremblett is able to dispossess him. Bobby Hauser loses the ball as well. Now Tremblett rubs out number 17 as he tried to run around him. There's Tremblett again playing the body and playing it hard. There's Tremblett now with the ball in the yellow shoes. Midnight Express throwing it down to the far blue line where Hauser collected it. It's now Loveless. Finds Hauser. Weighing his options. He's got traffic at the net. Throws it down to Loveless in this near corner. Loveless being bodied by 15, and now it's Hannon working hard for the ball. Gets kind of dumped in the direction of the net. Brought the ball with him, though, and Rethage has lost his blocker and his stick, and referee notices. And generally that's the play. If the goaltender loses a piece of protective equipment, the referee will simply blow the play dead, just for player safety. You don't often see a goaltender lose a blocker as he did there. Usually it's the helmet that comes off, and you can understand why the referee would blow the whistle if the goaltender's helmet came off. It's not 1940s NHL. Jacques Plante introduced the mask many decades ago, so we're not going to expose any goaltender to that punishment. 6:25 to go, second period. 4-1 lead, Midnight Express, approaching the midway point of this game. 3 12-minute periods. If it's still tied at the end of this, if the Pittsburgh Gods can get back into this one, it will be continuous overtime to decide the winner. So far today, 4 quarterfinal games, 2 semifinals, and now the final. We have yet to see an extra frame or a shootout or anything of the kind. All the games have been decided in 36 minutes of regulation play. As we approach the halfway point, 18 minutes gone now of the 36. Midnight Express up 4-1, controlling the play in the Pittsburgh zone. Not for long, though. Pittsburgh away with it. That's Gingell, 76. Back on Tremblett, but Tremblett's just a stalwart back there for Midnight Express. 22 tries to clear the zone. Tried to once, tried to twice. Both times had the pass intercepted as Steve Gregory shakes and bakes him a little bit. Now it's Gregory and Tremblett in the corner. Tremblett throws the ball up, and now J.K. Gill is away. J.K. Gill. Nice little move under the stick. dives for it as the ball got pushed a little further than I think he had hoped for. Referee has his arm up. Looks like Midnight Express are going to get a penalty there. And in all likelihood, J.K. Gill is going to the box. Looking for possession or a hockey play, so even though that shot did hit Bevilacqua and that shot hit J.K. Gill, referee waiting for Matt Tremblett to actually touch the ball, make a hockey play before making the call. And now this is an opportunity for the Pittsburgh Gods to get right back in this one. 4:46. Looks like it's Bevilacqua heading in the direction of the penalty box. So my apologies to J.K. Gill. I thought he was the offender for Midnight Express, but in fact it is Bevilacqua. So 4:46, 2 minutes with the man advantage here for the Pittsburgh Gods. Goal here definitely as a game changer. 4-2 score with, a few minutes to go in the second period is definitely not out of reach by any means. An advantage will have tipped in the Pittsburgh Gods' favor. You got Steve Gregory quarterbacking things there with a right-hand shot. Over to Hayne now, 7. Down low to Schlegel. Back up top. A lot of right-hand shots here from Schlegel, so expect shots to come from the left-hand side, if not the top, as Hayne thinks about it. There's Schlegel. There's the only left-hand shot on the man advantage for Pittsburgh. It's number 15, but it's back over to Schlegel. To Hayne, who winds and fires. That gets blocked by Hannon. Hauser now giving chase. Hayne throws it behind the net, probably ill-advised to do so. Hauser thinking about what he's going to do. Steps in on his forehand. Tried to go short side under the bar. Rethage, though, made the stop. Rethage, goaltender for Pittsburgh Gods. It's around now to Steve Gregory. Has help out at the point. Decides not to use it. Carries the ball around the top of the umbrella. Tries to throw it down to the net where he had two of his teammates waiting, but the ball got deflected into the corner. Then it just gets dislodged there about midway point of this 2-minute power play for the Pittsburgh Gods, who trail Midnight Express 4-1. You have to think if they're going to get back into this game that this is their chance. It's now or never for the Pittsburgh Gods, and I'm sure they know that as well. We'll see what they decide to do with their personnel. Now, they burned their timeout in the first period after Midnight Express jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Ultimately, Midnight made it 4-0 before the first period was done, and then Pittsburgh got their only goal here a minute into the second period, and that's where we find ourselves. So Rethage just stops that ball for number 8, moves it up to Sokol, the goal scorer for the Pittsburgh Gods. Now down to 15. It's Hayne with it over to the far side. I think that's Albright. Nice save by DiGeronimo, who was in the butterfly. Outside of the blue paint, as they say. Great opportunity there for Sokol to get his second of the game as he walked out from behind the net. Don't know if it hit a body in front or if DiGeronimo made the save. The power play still going now for Pittsburgh Gods. We'll keep an eye on that, see when Bevilacqua comes out of the sin bin. Hayne fakes the shot, fires over to Albright. His one-timer sails wide, but he gets the rebound. We're 5-on-5 again now. The penalty has expired. Hayne runs into the back of the referee. That allows Tremblett to get the ball, changes direction, and now just throws it the length of the floor. Good job by Midnight Express not only to kill off that penalty, but to throw the ball for icing as Bevilacqua just joined the fray there after leaving the box. So he's back out. Now, I'd say with his regular line mates, however, Midnight Express quite often gets Scott Hannon, the big guy there, number 13 for defensive zone draws. Normally, we'd see Bevilacqua, Gill, and Gill. Right now, it's Bevilacqua, Gill, and Hannon, who wins the draw back to Tremblett. Tremblett thinking about what he's going to do. Pittsburgh Gods kind of setting up into a 1-2-2 forecheck. And as they often do, they look for the cutter at the far blue line. And that's the second or third time that Midnight Express have done that. When they set up behind their own net, Pittsburgh seems to settle into a 1-2-2 forecheck. And 2 or 3 times now, the defenseman just takes one step out to the side of the net and tries to fire a rink-long pass to a cutter at the blue line. That time it was J.K. Gill. And in an attempt to get the pass, just found himself offside. So once again, Hannon is coming off the bench to take this defensive zone face-off for Midnight Express. Ties up his other centerman. Gods ended up with a deft little chance out of that, but Tremblatt has the ball. Backhands it up to J.K. Gill. Gains the zone. Runs in after it himself. Gets there first. Is being pressured by number 24, Pittsburgh, but still has the ball on the backhand. And that attempt got deflected up into the netting. Off the defender's stick, number 20 there for the Pittsburgh Gods, Jared Hirsch. So Pittsburgh brings out 5 new runners onto the floor. For Midnight, now you do have the regular trio of Gill, and Bevilacqua. Bevilacqua going to try and win it back to J.K. Gill for the one-timer. It's on Gill's stick, and that quick shot went up over the net. J.K. trying to convince the referee that hit a Pittsburgh player's stick before it went out of play, but unsuccessful in convincing the referees of that. So Gill, and Bevilacqua. It's J.C. Gill over to J.K., who whacks it down into the Pittsburgh zone, but does not give chase. 68 for Pittsburgh, goes D to D. That carom off the boards wasn't what they were expecting, and Bevilacqua had a quick shot, good scoring opportunity, nice save by Rethage. Pittsburgh now, Mike Bain, wearing number 68 for Pittsburgh, playing defense, but leading the forecheck on that dump and chase. It's Mentis. Now we'll see what happens here. Again, Pittsburgh just seems to set up in their 1-2-2, and there you go. Again, Midnight Express just content to throw the ball up to their forward and give them a one-on-one chance with the defenseman. And once again, J.K. Gill won that one-on-one battle. We'll see if Pittsburgh decides to do anything different with a minute 4 to go in the second period. I mean, trailing by 3 goals and employing a 1-2-2 forecheck isn't exactly going to force too many turnovers. And I wonder if the coach or anybody on the bench is noticing that the Midnight Express are simply floating the ball down in the direction of their 2 forwards and giving them a one-on-one opportunity with the defender, seeing if they can make anything of it. Now we've got Gill. That's Jason Gill. Had his shot deflected off a foot, and both Lovelace and Hain got to that ball at the same time, and it deflected up and over the glass and out of play. So face-off now just to the left of Rethage. And Rethage, the goaltender there for the Pittsburgh Gods, went down with a bit of an injury in the first period. Pittsburgh Gods coach had to come out and have a little chat with him. And ever since then, he has appeared to be in a little bit of discomfort. But up here in the broadcast booth, we don't have any more information as to what could be ailing him. He just doesn't look 100% right now as Bobby Hauser throws a dangerous one far side. Rethage gets his right pad on that one. And Pittsburgh Gods try to sail one. Bit of a Hail Mary pass, but no receiver on the other end. So 33 and a bit to go here in the second period. And Pittsburgh Gods have an offensive chance. Meanwhile, Mike Bain for the Pittsburgh Gods has just left the floor. Could just be a bathroom break. Seeing 33 seconds on the clock. If you bookend this with the second intermission, gives him enough time to do what he has to do and get back out there to begin the third period. We got Lovelace winning the draw. Back to Scott Hannon. Nice save by Rethage. Great face-off play there by Midnight Express. Lovelace nearly finding Hauser in front. Pittsburgh Gods away with it now. They safely play it off the glass. Safely, but not. Tremblatt picks it up. Fake shot. He was able to get his player to go down on that in a block attempt, but unable to convert on the ensuing pass. Long shot in there on Di Geronimo. Looked like he had a tough time with the bouncing ball, but I think it was going wide either way. So at the end of 2 periods of play, 24 minutes down, Niagara Express, Midnight Express, Freudian slip there, lead the Pittsburgh Gods 4-1. All right, let's set up here for the third period because $11,000 is on the line here. $8,400 goes to the victor of not just this game, but the tournament, Bauer Clash of the Titans. Runner-up receives a prize of $2,800. You add it up, and more than $11,000 in cash should be handed out at the end of this game. Right now, Midnight Express in the driver's seat. Scott Hannon wins the draw. Sorry, that's Sean Hannon. Wins the draw for Midnight Express, and they're able to chip that down the ice. So Pittsburgh Gods go D to D. Near boards now to number 11. His pass gets intercepted by J.C. Gill. He chips it in, and his brother J.K. gives pursuit. Pittsburgh working their way up the far boards now. Here's an opportunity with a bit of a 3-on-2 rush. Pittsburgh throws something at the net. Nice stop by DiDomenico. As J.K. Gill is away now. He's big, he's fast, he's got hands and can shoot. Tried to go 5-hole there on Rethage and nearly found a hole. From a sharp angle, J.K. Gill, who definitely has a scorer's touch. That guy is always around the net, J.K. Gill, as he was again there. He's a big body, good hands, quick shot, good scoring touch. He's just all around a good ball hockey player, and he's tough for opposing players to deal with. Pittsburgh now rings the boards. Intercepted by Midnight Express, and it's Jason Gill on the far side, no relation to J.K. or J.C., who are brothers. Bouncing ball dangerously right in front of Rethage. It's clear to the corner, and now it's number 8 for the Pittsburgh Gods, who leads the rush. Flips it to himself. Mentis is back to get it, though, for Midnight Express. 8 steals it back. Tries to wrap it in himself. Still has it now, number 8, and well, the ball was down. Looks like he may have clipped one of the Midnight Express players in the face, and referee is making a high stick call. A bit of a tough one there for number 8 of the Pittsburgh Gods. That's Rick Zimick. As the player for Midnight Express, in an attempt to battle for the ball, ended up on the ground, and I think it was at that point when he caught him with a stick. So referee's at a tough spot, though. I mean, stick did make contact with somebody's unprotected face. That's a call, but when they're right next to the ball, it stings a little bit. I'm sure the Pittsburgh Gods could use a break right now. Down 4-1. Midnight Express looking to put this one on ice, sending out their number 1 power play unit. We've got Hannon with Hauser, Lovelace, Gill, and Tremblett. It's Lovelace with the ball right now. Throwing it back to Hauser. Hauser walks to the top of the umbrella. That pass up. Now Hauser winds, fires. Don't know if Rethage saw it, but he felt it. No rebound, and he just sits on it to draw a face-off. The clock continues to run here. So the clock ran for about 10 seconds there, so scorekeeper just going to hold the clock for 10 seconds. Just make sure that everything is kosher. And the clock is running once again as the Midnight Express are jogging the ball up to the red line. Hard shot there. Somehow Midnight Express, it was Hannon able to knock that ball, the clearing attempt by Pittsburgh out of midair. So they maintain possession, set up the umbrella. It's Tremblett on the far side. Down low now to Lovelace. Tried to go through the crease to an open Hannon, but smart play by Hayne on the D for Pittsburgh Gods to lay a stick down and intercept that. Throw it down the length of the floor. It's all fine and dandy that the Pittsburgh Gods are killing off this penalty, but what they need right now is a goal, as that ball actually broke. Had to have been at the shot. Not exactly sure what the referees are going to do in this case, whether or not a reset up at center ice, or if they drop the ball kind of at the point in play where the ball broke. Looks like it's going to be the latter. So we got a face-off now in the Pittsburgh God zone. Midnight Express still pushing. We've got Loveless going to take the draw. Hauser on one side. He's got Tremblett out there. And that's Gill, J.K., winding and firing from the back end. Pretty efficient there to generate a good scoring opportunity in about 3 or 4 seconds off the draw. And another opportunity to win a draw here. Loveless won that one clean. And he's back in again against Albright. Hauser back to Gill, to Hauser. Gill winds, shoots. Nice save by Rethage. The rebound goes into the corner. Midnight Express control. Hauser just throws one down to Loveless in the direction of the net. Hauser winds, fires from a sharp angle. That goes over the net by everyone, but J.K. Gill holds the line. As Bobby Hauser went off to change, so nobody kind of patrolling the left point for Midnight Express, and it allows that ball to creep outside the zone. Still on the power play for Midnight Express as they walk the ball up. J.K. Gill willing to try it again from his side of center. 5-on-5 now as that penalty expires with 8.5 to go here in the third period. Pittsburgh Gods, you have to think they have to score in the next couple of minutes if they have a chance at putting 4 on the board and forcing overtime. It's Albright with the ball near boards. Doesn't appear to be a sense of urgency for the Pittsburgh Gods. 17 just snaps one in. DiGeronimo takes the carom off the boards and covers that. So we got a face-off now. Sean Hannon. Don't know why I want to call him Scott Hannon, but it's Sean Hannon wearing the A, big number 13. He's got the mouth guard, but seems to be chewing it more than he has it in his mouth. It's not the only one. We've seen lots of players, both amateur and pro, kind of use that more as a chew toy than a protective piece of equipment. And it's Pittsburgh that wins the draw, but Midnight Express are first on the ball, and they'll likely be happy just to get it down deep. Gill turns, fires. That hits a Pittsburgh God stick and goes out of play. So that faceoff will be deep in their zone. Under 8 minutes to go now in the third period. Again, Midnight Express just very happy as every second and every minute comes off that clock. It's a second a minute closer to $8,400 as Mentis takes a shot, and that rebound of the carom off the backboards dangerously went through the crease. Another long shot by Midnight Express. That was Jason Gill. And Pittsburgh now has it behind their own net. Up the half wall. Over the blue line now, Pittsburgh. As the referee blows that down, and not 100% sure why. They may be calling the offside. It did look as though the one runner was offside as that ball was cleared in, but interestingly, the back referee made that call. But I think it was the right call, and you can never blame a referee for making the right call. Hain now for the Pittsburgh Gods. Number 7. It's 22 for Midnight Express. Michael Vitro, who won the draw. And now it's Vitro on the forecheck, along with Smith, 44. But it's 17 away with it for the Pittsburgh Gods. 17 is Kaba, and he's in there with Hain fighting for the ball. Hain against Tremblett. Mentis throws it around far side. As Tremblett gets the ball, we'll see if he just decides to throw it down the floor, and he does, after a nice little toe drag to escape one forechecker. Pittsburgh has it now. 2-on-1 opportunity for the Midnight Express. Nice save by Rethage with the blocker off a quick snapper. Glove pass by Smith for Midnight Express, so that faceoff will come out the zone. And if the game isn't already put away, that was an opportunity there for Midnight Express to absolutely put this game on ice. Has found themselves at a 3-on-1, and it was Tyler Kaba with the ball. Looked like he had 44 Smith open for maybe a one-timer. My apologies, I'm looking at 17 for Pittsburgh God. 17 for Toronto. Midnight Express is, in fact, Ahmed Yusuf. And it was Yusuf who had Smith open. He also had a trailer for a 3-on-1 opportunity. And he took a dangerous shot from in tight, and Rethage was able to steer it wide with his blockers. So 6:43 to go. 4-1. Midnight Express over the Pittsburgh Gods as Midnight Express win the draw. Jason Gill winds and fires. Rethage gloves that down, leaves it for his defenseman. They throw it around to Sokol, the goal scorer. He throws it through the defender's legs and finds a forward, Albright, who decides to circle around and set up. To be honest, Midnight Express seemed quite content to allow the Pittsburgh Gods to work the perimeter, and Pittsburgh Gods, in my opinion, are all too accommodating. Right now, perimeter play is not what the Pittsburgh Gods need. They need balls at the net and just get something in behind DiGeronimo. When you're down to 2 goals, you might be able to smell a comeback. At 3 goals, it's very difficult. So Pittsburgh just looking for a break here to lift the spirits of everybody on their bench, and DiGeronimo decides to clear that himself. We've got Gill, that's J.C. Gill on the forecheck. Kind of wraps up his man and throws him out of the way to gain possession of the ball. Throws it around back. It's probably Bevilacqua, and it is, because the 2 Gills like to play with Bevilacqua. J.K. Gill did himself a favor there by falling. And I say it did himself a favor because had both players not fallen there, J.K. likely would have been flagged for a trip on Albright, but both players fell, so the referee probably said, well, no team gained an advantage, so let's play on. Pittsburgh could use a power play right now. Haven't seen the Gregories in a little while here for the Pittsburgh Gods, which is somewhat strange. I was expected to see them on the floor almost every shift, if not every second shift. Meanwhile, Midnight Express back out there with Hauser and Hannon and Lovelace. There's Gurge Gill on the back end. Bobby Hauser throws one towards the net where Hannon was in hot pursuit. But rebound was not to be had as Hannon exchanges a few words with Rick Zimick on the back end, number 8 for Pittsburgh. We got Kaba, 17 for Pittsburgh. Number 7 is Hain, taking the draw. Gurge Gill winds and fires. That ball's out of play. And with 5:32 to go in the third period, we'll have a face-off here. And just to finish that line combination, it's Schlegel on the left side for the Pittsburgh Gods. Hannon, Hauser, Lovelace. We got Tremblett and Gill. Those are the 5 on the floor for Midnight Express. Over to Zimick now, who moves it up to Schlegel. Hain is in there quickly, but couldn't beat Hauser to the ball, and it's Hauser who comes out of the corner with it. Flips it up over the head in the direction of Lovelace, who ends up colliding with the Pittsburgh defender. And then it was Hauser who followed up fiercely, but somehow the ball still ends up in Midnight Express zone. It's Tremblett reversing course, once, now twice. Challenging Pittsburgh to come in and pin him against the board. They do, and Midnight Express unable to clear the ball. It's Zimick, I believe, fighting hard against Lovelace on the boards. Zimick comes away with the ball on his backhand, throws something towards the net, and Tremblett blocks that and throws it down the floor. And as mentioned, the Pittsburgh Gods seem all too accommodating to just take up the space on the perimeter of the floor instead of just somehow getting balls to the net. Now, it's no easy solution. Midnight Express are proving themselves to be the class of the 2017 Bauer Clash of the Titans. So no easy task to just say, get some balls on the net. I'm sure that message is going up and down the bench right now. And wondering exactly what's going on the bench for the Pittsburgh Gods as I see Steve Gregory appears to actually have his gloves off over on the bench as though his day is done, which I don't know what happened there. You would think that Gregory, and Albright would be the 3 on the floor, but Steve Gregory just opened the door for the next players to go out. So have no idea what's up over there. Meanwhile, as we've seen, Sean Hannon out to take the draw. There's Albright, number 2. And Hannon gets asked to leave the face-off circle. Michael Vitro, 22, steps in to take his place. Express wins the draw. Mentis rings it around. The Pittsburgh holds the line. Now Hannon has it. Again, just throws it up, gets over the red line, so clears the zone. Zimic now looking to make something of it himself. Dump and chase to himself. And now Zimic with it in the corner. But again, perimeter play for the Pittsburgh Gods, just not going to get it done. As Hannon is away now, kind of by himself. Makes a move to the backhand. Throws one just wide. And now heads to the bench to change. Mentis now with the ball for Midnight Express. Somehow able to just plod his way down the near boards and still has possession with it now in the far corner. Keeps the ball deep. On the stick now of number 88, Frank D'Ambrosio. Sorry, Frank, don't think we've called your name all day today, and that's D'Ambrosio with the ball right now. Working back and forth, back and forth. Content to just eat up time, work the cycle. As Smith now with the ball, 44, doing the exact same. Not exactly sure what Pittsburgh is planning to do here to get the ball back. Finally, somebody comes in to help. And just like that, D'Ambrosio is open, back door, and nice save by Rethage to keep this a 3-goal game. Now it's to Smith. On this side, I believe. Smith playing catch with D'Ambrosio behind the net. And finally, Pittsburgh gets the ball, but just long enough to hand it back to Tremblay, who gives it into Smith. Smith and around behind the net to D'Ambrosio, who has the ball. D'Ambrosio with 2:45 to go here in the third period, taking all the time that he needs and wants behind the net. Pittsburgh now up now with it is 11. Albright gets the ball, but ever so briefly, before Bevilacqua throws it down into Pittsburgh zone. Midnight Express intercept that at the Pittsburgh Gods blue line. It was Bevilacqua throwing it into Mentis. Pittsburgh Gods player is down. Mentis just absolutely gets run into by number 26. It was definitely going to take a penalty on that. 26 from Pittsburgh. Craig Steedle, as Mentis, 67, tried to make his way and force his way into the front of the net. 26 had a running start, and I think maybe the height difference played into that a little bit as well, but caught him right on the side of the head. Easy call for the referee. So with 2:10 to go, if this isn't the final nail in the coffin for the Pittsburgh Gods, I don't know what is. Short-handed now when all they need is a goal. Down to 4 runners. 3 goals down is where they find themselves. And Midnight Express not letting up at all with their 5 best on the floor. Hannon, Bevilacqua, Tremblatt, Gill, and Hauser. It's Hauser with the ball right now. Over to Bevilacqua. Down to Hannon. Bevilacqua now with it. Pittsburgh's going to have to do something to try and get this ball back. They flip it over to Gill. He tosses it back to Hauser. Not exactly sure what Pittsburgh's planning to do to get this ball back. If they just only force 2 guys out of the umbrella, Midnight Express will simply do this for the rest of the power play. Bevilacqua down to Hannon. Hannon at this point should throw it back to Bevilacqua, and he does. Back to Tremblay. Over to Hannon. Not much life out of the Pittsburgh Gods, either on the floor or on the bench right now. Just letting Tremblay take as much time as he wants behind the net. Finally now Pittsburgh gets the ball, and at least they tried to generate some offense here, throwing the ball in Albright's direction. There you go. He throws something at the net in the direction of the net. But it ends up on the stick of Lovelace, who throws it over to his defensive partner, over to Sean Hannon. And with 1 minute to play here in the third period, Midnight Express with the man advantage have to think now that this game is absolutely done, and they are less than a minute away from not only calling themselves 2017 Bauer Clash of the Titan champions, but walking out of St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, with $8,400. So it's going to be a pretty good team dinner tonight on the way home. Hannon with it. Throws it over to Hauser. And it looks like this is going to do it. The ref will probably let the last 26 seconds wind off the clock, but as they put their whistle to their mouth, and that's it. Midnight Express are your 2017 Bauer Clash of the Titans champion. It has been an exhausting week, all week, and kudos to both the Pittsburgh Gods and Midnight Express. They have been absolute stalwarts all weekend long. They have played hard, they have played safe, and it just so happened that this weekend and today, it was the Midnight Express's day. As the final horn sounds, and 4-1 is your final score here from the Ballhockey.com Athletic Center. As you see Midnight Express cheer and celebrate in front of their net. We're going to bring the camera, the microphone, down to court level and see if we can't interview some of the gold medal champions here from Midnight Express and also talk to some of the players from the Pittsburgh God and see what didn't go their way. We'll talk to you next on the floor. Bobby, you gonna do an interview? Interview with me? Huh? What? Do an interview with me? Yeah. All right. Here, stand on this side. Stand on this side. Just to the camera. It's that easy, all right? We're down on the floor now with Midnight Express and Bobby Hauser, number 52, for Midnight Express. Congratulations, 2017 Bauer Clash of the Titans champion. How does it feel?
Feels good. Anytime you get to play with Midnight, it's always it's always a good time, and yeah, can always use the extra cash.
What do you think the difference was this year? You guys have been in the tournament many years. I mean, was it just a case that everything was going your way today? What do you make of it?
Depth. We always have depth, and Davey played really good. Coaching was good, and we have Sean Hannon and Matt Tremblett, so they can carry the way, and we just do everything else.
Yeah, speaking of Tremblett, tried to grab an interview with him, a little camera shy. Did he play the whole game? I mean, it seemed like he was out there all the time.
I honestly think that Tremblett's a little nervous because he's getting pretty ugly in his older years. So he might have played the whole game, but he's going to have a couple more gray hairs when he goes home.
And finally, where are you guys stopping for dinner on the way back, man? I mean, $8,400. What are you guys going to do?
We're going to the Gills family. Gills are having a party for us, and they're going to make us food. So that's the game plan.
There we go, live from the floor. There's Midnight Express. There's the Gills. They wanted a shout-out. Congratulations, boys. Well done.
Number one, baby.
And we're here with Corey Hirsch, who's the head coach of Pittsburgh Gods. Traveled a long way from Pennsylvania. Just came up a little short, but it has to be a good weekend.
Yeah, I appreciate everything my guys did. They battled their faces off. They gave everything they could to withstand injury all weekend long, especially starting off the tournament against a great Rebels team on a big rink. We didn't get the start we wanted or in the end we wanted, but they battled, they fought, and I appreciate it. Big learning curves for a lot of them, too, stepping in for the first time, filling in for some guys that we missed from back home. Even in that game, after a slow start that we had, and a goalie playing with knee injury, you can't ask for much more than the heart and the passion that these guys have, and it's why I appreciate everything they do for me and for this team and this family. So.
Well, I was going to ask you to clarify a little bit what happened to John Rethage there. First period kind of went down. Was this a pre-existing condition, or did he tweak something there in that game?
Yeah, no, actually, there was just a collision at the net. One of their guys was going hard. One of our guys was trying to tie him up. They ran into him, took his right knee out of play. He felt something go, and funny enough, he played just as well with one leg as any goalie possibly could with two in the end. He made some great saves just to make it look respectable in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. Throughout the game, and not just this game, but all weekend long, the trio of the Gregory brothers and then Albright down the middle, those guys saw a lot of floor. Yet third period, didn't see the Gregorys. What was going on?
Steve actually pulled up a hamstring in the second period, tried to play through to shift or two and couldn't. So we had to make some changes afterwards. And once you get into some penalty situations like we did there towards the end, it makes it hard to get some of the young guys like Drew out on the rink. Even though he actually fought and battled on one of the late penalties that we had to kill. And yet again, another hamstring injury and knee injury to two of our top guys. And it's going to make any team's day miserable, and it made ours. But like I said, the rest of the guys stepped up and rallied as best they could.
Well, you battled hard all weekend and hold your heads high. I know it stings a little bit right now, but $2,400, nothing to shake a stick at. Make that $2,800. Yeah. And really, we have collected 14 of the premier ball hockey teams right in North America. And to walk out of this building and saying we're second best is a pretty high accolade.
Yeah, we tried not to make the final photo there look so gloomy, and I think we should hold our heads high for how we played all day, especially leading up to it. I think we had 4 straight shutouts at one point, maybe 3 straight shutouts at one point, and you can't ask for much more than that out of performance from defense and goaltending. So thank you.
Corey Hirsch is the coach of the Pittsburgh Gods. They always make the trip up north here to the Ballhockey.com Athletic Center. We look forward to seeing the Gods once again vie for the title of the 2018 Bauer Clash of the Titans 2017 runner-up, and they can hold their heads high.